All right, so who's been enjoying these incredible talks we've had about documentation and just, it's incredible, like so good. Well, time for something completely different. Who here is like, ha, business? Show of hands. All right. I'm gonna be real generous and say that was about 10%. It was not 10%. Wrong crowd, wrong talk. Guy, get up here. Shoot, like maybe I should go see what's going on in the unconference because he's going to talk about business for half an hour. Bear with me. This is sort of the talk that no one wants to listen to and maybe no one wants to give. But you know, I've snuck my way up here, so let's talk about it. See, there's more to our work than just our writing, right? We're writers. We're not business people. We're not sales people. We're writers. We're artists. Yes, we are. I like that. It's beautiful. But also money matters because we're in this thing called a business, most of us, right? And somehow money makes it into our bank account personally, and somehow money, funds tools and things that we have. See, money in our world really translates to a way to realize passions and things that we want to accomplish in our work. That sounds crazy, and you may be tuning me out, but enjoy your nap. For those who are still with me, my name is Matt Reiner. I'm a writer with a company called K15T. We make apps for Confluence that turn it into a tech writing platform. It's kind of meta. I was a customer, tech writing in it, and now I work with them in our tool, documenting our tool, and then my brain implodes and all that stuff. It's fun. So that's me, but enough about that. Let's explore this topic of the business for a bit. And I want to know, does this scenario resonate with anyone? You're sort of like, in your heart of heart, in your soul, I know this thing, that if we do this thing, it's just going to change everything. It's going to impact our customers. It's going to increase our sales. It's going to rapidly increase the amount of documentation we can write. If we just did blah to the docs, it would change everything. And I'm presuming that you work with a really great leader that sees your genius and you get a response like, great idea, that's so good, I love it. Just write up a business case for me and I'll get that to leadership. And, I'll push this through, we'll make it happen, let's do it. And you're like, yeah, cool, yeah, And you kind of sort of glazed eyes walk back to your office or desk or the cardboard box in which you write. And you have this sort of internal conversation that goes something like, Gah. A business case, isn't that where good ideas go to die? I thought you liked the idea. Like a business case, what the heck is that? What the heck is that? Like, what is a business case? What is that? I think I heard about that in Office Space at one point. Shoot, well, I Googled it and there's something about writing in there, right? Something about audiences and something about, justification, and this sounds like something I do. Oh yeah, I do write stuff. It says it on my tag, so maybe I can do this, right? I am no professional businessman, obviously, but I had this question, I had this situation, and so I sort of put it on pause, right? I'm still in this mid-sigh moment. But I looked at, and I want to look together today, at how could we build a business case? As technical communicators, as documentarians, can we use our same skills to build the cursed business case to make our dreams come true? Because in the world of business, we just can't all ride unicorns on rainbows. Some of us have to justify what we're asking to do. All right? So capture that effort, that project that you want to push through, that thing that your gut tells you will change everything. Hold on to that star, and we're going to move through this. So we're going to talk a little bit about knowing our new audience we're writing for, right? We write for audiences, right? We're going to talk about a new one. We're going to talk about the business and what we need to know about the business that's going to matter in the case that we're crafting. Then we're going to talk about the teams we need to meet, right? Friends matter. We want to have friends in the right places. And then finally, a little bit about like bringing that together into a proper business case, all right? This is gonna be all very high level because sometimes, I'm just reading from other professionals, and B, your business might have different standards on what constitutes a business case. So you might work for a company like I know Atlassian does this, and my company kind of does it where you like throw out this project poster, and it's this fun like movie poster style way of presenting a business case. You may work for a company that's like, you need a formal document on letterhead that's been notarized and delivered by, an owl. Whatever the case may be, right? You got to understand that. But we'll talk about it very generally and the pieces that you need, right? Just like we know there's pieces that we need in our documentation. So let's first start with our audience, right? So you may be familiar with writing for users or administrators or developers, and there's a unique domain lingo that you use when you talk with your users. Well, we're going to talk about business leaders because that's who we're writing our case to. These are the people who control budgets. These are the people that set goals. And these are the people that we're writing to. Now, there's lots of different things this audience cares about. But there were sort of three that really stood out to me. You should understand within your unique business what those are. But a big one is business impact, right? Leaders want to know when you're making a case, why does it matter to the business? Right? And if you're like me, it's like, I don't even want to talk about business. Why does he keep using the B word? But I'm going to use more words than that, so get ready, right? But business impact, I was trying to look for an example of a statement where someone stated the impact that documentation had on their organization. And the one I found is an example for us today. Came from a really interesting place. It's from the Academy of Addiction Professionals, and they reference the importance of documentation in the counseling process. And I think it's a beautiful way of saying it. It helps us track progress and address thought patterns and unhealthy behaviors. How many of you know where we document something that shows we have really behaved well as a team and we have great thoughts and great ideas, right? Because the documentation is easy to read and it's great, right? And then there's part of the product that sucks so bad and documentation's a huge Band-Aid, right? Documentation serves as this sort of ongoing living document showing us the value and where we're focusing and where we're good as a team and as a company and where we're maybe not. Right? So this is a really great example of that. What we have to do is craft a business impact statement for our particular business. And typically it's going to be more philosophical like this one, right? So don't say, I write docs so people know stuff. Like that's just, everybody knows that. So the next thing is, this is like the greatest fear of leaders of all time, is duplication of efforts. Right? Business leaders care if people are doing this little thing called rewriting. You and I all know this is happening, right? There is somebody in marketing rewriting our content in the form of a fun blog, and there's somebody in sales who's rewriting our content in the form of a run book for putting together sales pitches, and we know there's somebody rewriting it in support as well, right? These are nightmarish things for leaders because they're paying two people to do the same thing. So we got to remember that's a fear when we're building our business case, right? Also, there's a big fear around training. As you scale your company, often there's not enough focus on internal documentation, so then you hire a whole training team to rewrite all the content that should just be in the documentation, but make it in fun videos, as sort of a Band-Aid on top of the fact that you have an information issue, right? And then finally, silo reduction, right? It's funny, silos 10 years ago, it's like, we don't have issues with farms in our company, but now everybody's like, it's information silos, no one's talking to each other, nobody knows what the other team is doing. Leaders, these are nightmares, right? And this is our audience, so these are important to keep in mind. And then finally, this is a nice one, heartwarming, right? Our leaders care about us, the employees. And for every different group, right, there's different needs, but let's just sort of as an aside, think of the needs that we have as technical writers, right? We tend to be prevention-focused individuals. Documentarians focus on the details often. These are not the individuals that are typically lauded in business, right? Typically, we laud the promotion-focused individuals. They're the big thinkers, pushing everybody toward the big effort, and that's awesome. We need those people. But then there's the people that are like, don't forget, you kind of converted inches into centimeters there. We probably shouldn't do that, right? That kind of will affect the way the spacecraft enters Mars orbit. Right? But that affects us, right? We often aren't recognized, and even our projects aren't pushed because we're thinking about the tiny details, right? Our leaders care because when we're not recognized, we don't feel valued, right? That hits us in the core of our being. And when we don't feel valued, we experience self-pity and irritability, right? And these aren't, we use these sort of as insults, but this is like deep stuff here, people, right? This is just documentarians we're talking about, right? Some of the efforts that we care about, that we're passionate about, impact more teams and how they feel, and do they feel valued? And leaders care about this stuff. So there's other things that leaders care about, but these are the ones we're going to talk about now. So we've learned a little bit. Now let's write a little bit. So the first thing we can write for our business case, knowing what we know, is our executive summary. And that sounds boring. It is kind of, but we're basically summarizing what it is we want to do in the effort and why. And this sounds very familiar, right? We do this, right? This is what we're going to do, and this is why it matters. And we know now what does our audience care about, right? They care about these things, and so we touch on that. This is a really good place to focus a lot of attention because business leaders have very little time also, and they are skimming your content, and you better capture them in that first paragraph. Just really try to hit on all the business lingo if you need to, leveraging synergies, all that stuff, right? Then you're going to craft, not this. First business and now a SWOT analysis. Gosh, I need to get some air. So a SWOT analysis, right, you're going to list your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. Sort of, these are the things that we think are really, we're going to go into this effort, this project that I'm recommending that I think we're going to be really good at. And these are some areas where we may not succeed. This might, in your heart, you're like, why do I even need to list this? It's mostly for leaders who maybe don't know you. They're not familiar with your work. They don't get that gut check factor that you have because you're very familiar with it. You're in it every day. So this is sort of a way to give them that, right? There's great examples of these online. So the next thing we're going to talk about is learning the business and sort of these key things that we can understand and prepare to really supercharge our business case. So the first thing is to understand the business plan and the company goals. So the business plan is this thing that none of us ever look at or care about. I'm going to be honest, okay? The business plan is talked about by like C-level executives and the board. They have this 5-year, 10-year, 15-year plan, this vision for what the company is going to be. Then they take it and they translate it into goals, right? And you all know this is that period in the like quarterly or yearly all-hands meeting where you just start using Twitter because they're talking about something that we're all going to work on. It doesn't really matter because I'm waiting for the company goals to be translated into departmental goals, to be translated into team goals, to be translated into my personal goals. Those I actually care about. And I've felt that way, but then I realized we can hack this framework. See, when we can translate our personal goals to our team goals, to our departmental goals, to our company goals, to the long-term plan of the business, dang, then I can be talking with the CEO. I don't know why I would be, but, well, my CEO is awesome. I can be talking to my CEO, and I can translate, here's what I'm working on today, but more importantly, this is how we're going to get here in 15 years. The board would be pleased to know that my work will, not that we're going to have interactions like that, but we can clearly articulate why this project that I really want to do, why this impacts 5, 10, 15 years in the future. And that's where a lot of leaders are thinking. That's why we pay them the big bucks. So the next thing we want to prepare is what salespeople refer to as the elevator pitch, which just imagine the nightmare of being stuck on an elevator with a leader for about a minute. You can either endure the minute of silence, or less awkwardly, you can have a tiny little prepared speech. I promise, it's slightly better, right? And some elevators are figurative, right? So you have this prepared speech where you can communicate what you do and more importantly, why you do. Don't run through your tool chain and your workflow and give them the URL to the help site. Talk about the why. Talk about the why. Please, I'm begging you, right? Spend 5 seconds, 0 seconds on the tool chain. I promise the why is what matters. When you can quickly articulate why what I do matters, that's going to make your business case sing, right? Because it's not about what you want to do as much as what it will do for the company or for the users and the internal teams, whatever your effort benefits. You want to focus on what salespeople refer to as your unique selling proposition, which is, what is it that I have, that I'm offering, that I'm writing about, that I want to do, that no other team can do, no other effort can do? And this is really valuable because this isn't the only business case that leaders are looking at. So what is it that yours has to offer the company, our customers, our whomever, that no other project, no other effort can do? So we have our elevator pitch ready. Awesome, we can endure elevators now. Now we have to, oh my gosh, marketing, what is wrong with this presentation? Get this guy off the stage. Yeah, we got to do a little marketing. We got to understand the seasons in which marketing happens, right? Recognize within your company, what are the moments, what are the touch points when our fantastic marketing people reach out? And the reason we do that is because those are the milestones, those are the periods where people's brains are open, ready to receive information, right? And that counts for both internal and external touch points. So for example, if your company has 3 times a year releases, then there's probably communications about 2 weeks before the release to tell everybody, hey, the release is coming, learn more. Oh, hey, here's some link to the documentation, right? Ooh, that's pretty intriguing. And then externally, right on the time of the release, there's going to be external marketing, right? So understanding those patterns is really important for the business case that we're going to write here in a minute. So really good to understand that. And then also, this is sort of a weird, psychological thing. It helps people connect your documentation with the brand, right? And the brand, I thought that was a logo, but it's not. I guess it's this weird, psychological thing where, everything about the colors and the logo and the information and the experience that the company is trying to push, both to users and to the people in the company, that's all part of the brand, right? Ooh, that's creepy. They got making people drink Kool-Aid and stuff, right? But we're actually trying to connect our documentation to that experience so people realize, oh, wow, there's the product, and then there's this whole source of information around the product, right? And it communicates that greater, grand, beautiful vision. That's pretty cool. So what can we do with this? So another thing we can write now is our business description. And this is hey, I know what the business did in the past, and I know what we're trying to do in the future. And here is how this effort is going to get us there. That is amazing. It's like printing your own money. Next, you can write a marketing strategy. Don't worry, it's not so bad. This is just generally, I understand the milestones of when we do marketing stuff, and I can communicate sort of when certain things should happen, how we're going to communicate the effects of this effort that we're taking on. Because if you complete an effort or a project and then you don't communicate that it was successful, that's not good. That's not good. We need recognition. That's not good. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the teams that we need to connect with, right? So it's good to make friends. I think Sarah mentioned that. It's really, really good to make friends. Here are some friends that we can help, and they can help us, and then it'll make the business case freaking amazing. So marketing, it's important to understand how these different teams work. If you're writing documentation, you work in sprints or releases. Marketing doesn't work that way. They work in campaigns. Marketing campaigns are maybe a time period, maybe 6 months, where they work on blogs and website design and presentations and webinars, all these different pieces of content and messaging that help push forward this greater message. So maybe the message is usability. Our product is really good for users. It's very user-friendly. So understand that when you go to talk to someone in marketing, you go and say, hey, I understand you're working on trying to communicate this message campaign. How can we work together on that, right? They control how users talk about our product. I don't care if you wrote the app goes widescreen. If marketing says it goes edge to edge, guess what users are going to search for? Edge to edge, people, come on. It's like beautifully designed, edge to edge sounds cooler. Marketing controls that terminology. And rather than being like, come on, marketing, read my documentation, we get together with our friends in marketing and we agree on a common set of terminology that when our users search, they find the information because we talk the same, all right? We can help them, they can help us, and we can build beautiful business cases together. It's lovely. When we talk about sales, this is scary, right? Salespeople are great. In fact, the sales group I found, they're some of the people that read documentation the most. Your sales engineers, take them all out to lunch, find out how great you are because they read your stuff all the time, all right? Salespeople, they work with leads and opportunities, which is, I met 400 people at a conference. Those are all leads, right? But they're working on a relationship with a few of them. They're called opportunities. These are unique companies or users they're going after. This is like money, people. If we can say, hey, I understand you're going after customer B, and I heard through the grapevine, or whatever business term you'd use there, that they're really interested in SSH. Well, hey, here's some docs that you might want to send to them that might help them show how our product is really great with their use case, right? Oh, salespeople love that kind of stuff. This is how you make friends. Salespeople control what people perceive our product does. You may have had that awkward situation where a salesperson sold something the product doesn't do. That can be bad. So rather than saying, sales, come on, oh, you guys, golly, we can work with them, right, to make sure we're not miscommunicating information, right? And also, that our documentation is accurate, right? That we didn't miss something. And also, sales is amazing at communicating benefits, right? I don't know about you, but I get lost in features. It's like, yeah, it does this and this and this and this, and it's wow, it's so cool. But, right, benefits are what users really care about. And sales is incredible at authoring them. So we can work with sales to take those benefits they're good at authoring and bring them into our documentation. Not to make documentation a sales pitch, but guess what? Documentation is a little bit of a sales pitch, especially if you do API writing. Come on. Bring the benefits in that sales is so good at writing. So then we have our support group. And we hear a lot about working with support. Support is like a huge focus for executives right now. Support works in requests and SLAs, so that is like, hey, this is broken, fix it for me, right? So that's like half of the nightmare of support, and the other half is you've got these timers ticking down on everything, right? You gotta meet these SLAs. So don't think you're gonna go to the support person and be like, yeah, we've got this awesome collaborative tool, so you can author in the tool, and then I'll just correct it, and then we'll publish it, it'll be great. Your support people have like 15 minutes to talk to you before another SLA, is bumping up. So understand that. They're not being rude, they just don't have time to go into detail. So understand that when we're making friends with support people. They control how users feel about our products long term. They are the voice of the product. Then that empathy that they capture and create, we need to make sure our docs align with that. Rather than having two very different feelings. And of course, support just gathers incredible feedback. Take about 50% of that and throw it away because it's like specific use cases. Give them like a knowledge tool so they can document that kind of stuff, but then incorporate it into your docs. So we made some friends. Friends are great. What are we going to do with that? Right, so let's write our competitor analysis. If you're competitive, calm down. This isn't about competition. This is basically, what are we offering in our documentation effort that no other team in the company can offer, right? That's what our analysis is. And what do they offer that we're not going to try to compete with, right? What is support doing that this project doesn't do because support is already doing it? Additionally, an operations overview. And that's just, these are the people that are going to be involved, these are the resources that are going to be involved, so that leaders can understand how big are we talking this thing actually is. And now that we know the people in the teams, we know who to talk about. Pew. All right, so we're going to build our business case now. So a couple things we need. Metrics. We really need metrics. We really need data. You don't want to go to a leader with a gut feeling. Because guess what? Most likely their gut feeling is documentation loses us money. It is not really valuable. It's our insurance for if a customer is mad, we can say, oh, well, it's in the doc. right? You don't want to go with that gut feeling in your business case. You want to go with freaking amazing data. Thank goodness Sarah talked about it. I thought I was going to have to, and then they brought in a professional. Whew. Right? But this is where friends come in handy, because friends also have data. And we can get together and tell beautiful stories. For example, hey, you know those last 10 sales we made? Well, 3 of those customers referenced documentation in their sales process. Or, based on our deflection rates in our help center, we're finding that the support team isn't going to need to hire another support rep this year because more people are reading documentation and solving their problems. This is amazing. Leaders want to hear this kind of stuff. So data matters. Bring good metrics. Also, be helpful and be practical when it comes to assembling your business case. Don't go into it and say, I got to know everything about the business, and I got to know everyone, and I've got to, just make the perfect case. Don't worry. There's no perfect business case. Don't stress. And you also have a day job. Remember that. Go slowly. Don't try to rush it out, because we just got to upgrade our tools. We just got to do it. Take your time. Build a good case. And then when you're working with other teams, right, if it involves other teams, remember to influence them. Don't just try to bulldoze your way in and say, this is what we need, everybody wants this. Was there a question? No, good, this is what we're doing, right? We're influencing. And then finally, when it comes to putting your plan together, this business case, just a couple of tips. It's very much like writing the docs, right? Write a draft. Don't pay attention to the grammatical issues or the misspellings. Just keep going. Just vomit that plan onto the piece of paper. Don't look back. When you've cleaned up the mess, right, then collaborate with people. If you can try to bring in team members from other teams, that's the best, right? And then present it to them and say, here's my case. Poke holes in it. What do you think? What did I miscommunicate? What could I have communicated better? Right? You want to present it to your friends before you present it to a business leader. Not that they're not our friends, but they don't know what's going on. Our friends kind of do, so they're really good at drawing that kind of stuff out. And so now that we sort of have gotten to the point where we can really put stuff together, there's just a couple other things that we can write. First of all, the product plan. This is the nitty-gritty where we write about the fiddly bits of everything that we want to do in the whole effort. This is where you just dive in, and this is the whole thing that we're going to do. Don't go crazy. Execs and leaders don't want to read that, but this is where we really get to have the fun and lay out, here's the whole effort of what we're going to do. And then also, gosh, a financial plan. This guy just won't quit. Yeah, we got to talk about finances just a little bit. This is where we work with our leaders, get some info on, who needs to be involved? How much money is that going to cost? What are the tools we're talking about using? How much will that cost? And those sorts of things. It's not got to be an exact, accounting of everything, but the idea is we can show we generally thought about this. This is roughly what it's going to cost the company. Okay, back to the box. I'm mid-sigh, I've come out of this conversation, I'm like, okay, a business case. Okay, well, you know what? I do understand my audience, right? So I've got that going for me. I understand what they care about, and I understand the business and where we come from, where we're going. I got an elevator pitch, so that's cool. And I do have friends and all the teams that this benefits, right? And I think they would want to be involved in this, and I am collecting metrics, and I kind of get how to assemble this thing. So okay, business case, bring it on. Let's write a business case. I can write a business case. You can write a business case. Let's write a business case, people. All right, let's make it happen. Thank you.